$1 million net worth from a $50,000 salary sounds like internet nonsense until you see what actually did the work. In early 2026, the median full-time U.S. worker made about $1,235 a week, roughly $64,000 a year before taxes. So $50,000 is normal worker money, not luxury money. BLS. And that is exactly why this story should bother you. Because the salary did not magically become $1 million. Time did. Compounding did. Debt control did. And a few brutally boring decisions did. This case study represents real financial patterns and real-world data. Meet Alex, 27 years old, office operations job, mid-cost U.S. city, $50,000 salary, no inheritance, no startup equity, no crypto jackpot. On paper, Alex looked fine. In real life, fine was expensive. MIT's living wage calculator exists for a reason. What counts as enough changes brutally by where you live. MIT, by 2024, median U.S. household income was $83,730, while average annual household spending reached $78,535. Middle-class money disappears faster than people admit. Census BLS Alex's own budget was painfully ordinary. Estimated take-home pay around $3,000 a month, rent, car, insurance, groceries, student loans, and just enough fun to avoid becoming a spreadsheet ghost. Year one looked like this: about $19,000 in student debt, roughly $8,000 on a car loan, a tiny emergency fund, and retirement savings too small to impress a vending machine. Net worth, slightly negative. Emotionally, very negative. Then Alex made the first classic middle-class mistake, treating every raise like permission, not leverage. A little better phone, a little better apartment, a little better weekend, and somehow, not a lot better financially. Sound familiar? Now zoom out. By Q1 2026, total U.S. household debt reached $18.794 trillion, and credit card balances alone stood at $1.252 trillion. Broke is not just personal, it is structural, New York Fed. And in May 2025, the personal saving rate was just 4.5%, which tells you a lot about how little margin people actually have. Then inflation hit like a surprise bill with a baseball bat. In June 2022, consumer prices were up 9.1% year over year, the biggest jump in 40 years. Suddenly, basic life started acting premium. BLS. If you've ever looked at a grocery receipt like it personally betrayed you, you understand the mood. Housing was even meaner. Freddie Mac says the average 30-year mortgage rate hit a historic low of 2.65% in January 2021. Freddie Mac later, 30-year mortgage rates crossed 7%, and affordability got body slammed. Freddie Mac, so no, Alex was not playing the game on easy mode. The turning point came on a miserable Tuesday night with a laptop, a cheap lamp, and one ugly net worth spreadsheet. That was the moment Alex realized income felt powerful, but net worth told the truth. Salary was the engine. Savings rate, debt, and time were the transmission. So the new rule was savage and simple. Every raise gets split before lifestyle notices it exists. Half of each raise went to investing, part went to debt, and a little went to actually living like a human being. Student loans got attacked first because paying 6% interest is basically investing in your own frustration. Credit cards stopped being, "I'll deal with it later," and became absolutely not. Then came the emergency fund. 3 months of expenses, not because cash is exciting, but because panic is expensive. After that, Alex automated retirement contributions, hard enough to make future laziness useful. Employer match first, always. Vanguard reported the average participant deferral rate was 7.7% in 2024, and total employee plus employer contributions averaged 12%. Alex eventually pushed into the 15 to 18% range. Not overnight, obviously. That would make a better thumbnail, but a much worse case study. For years, the progress was visually offensive. He saved, and the portfolio still looked like it needed emotional support. Then compounding did the weird thing it always does. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Then suddenly something. Around year 5, Alex's net worth finally turned clearly positive. Around year 10, retirement accounts crossed into 6 figures, and for the first time, wealth felt physical. And that is where many people blow it. Because feeling richer is dangerous when you are only beginning to become stable. Alex could have upgraded the car, the apartment, the vacations, and the entire personality. Instead, Alex bought a modest home, not a cinematic dream home. That mattered, but it did not rescue a broken plan. The fixed payment stayed manageable, so the investing habit survived. By 2022, the Federal Reserve said the median U.S. family net worth was $192,900, and the median homeowner's net housing value was $201,000. Boring equity is still equity. That stat matters because social media makes seven figures look casual when it is still far above the U.S. median. So what did the realistic finish look like? First truth, the salary did not stay at $50,000 forever. With normal promotions, inflation adjustments, and career growth, it rose gradually into roughly the low to mid $90,000 over 2 decades. That is the first truth nobody puts in the title. The journey started at $50,000. But the result came from consistency, raises, time, and not sabotaging the process. By the end, invested retirement and brokerage accounts reached about $700,000, estimated using realistic long-run market assumptions and many years of contributions, not magic. Home equity added roughly $260,000. Cash and health savings buffers added about $50,000. Total estimated net worth, just over $1 million. Not private jet millionaire. More like still checks grocery prices but sleeps better millionaire. And yes, if market returns had been weaker, or if Alex panic sold during ugly years, this could have ended far lower. That is why the lesson is not copy this exact number. The lesson is that ordinary income can become extraordinary net worth when the gap between earning and spending survives long enough. But here is the darker truth. A $50,000 salary can also become lifelong broke with the same intelligence, the same city, and the same economy, just with more payments and less margin. Most financial disasters do not begin with yachts. They begin with monthly obligations that look harmless. So what should you steal from Alex? Track net worth, not vibes. Kill high-interest debt before it quietly feeds on your future. Capture the employer match. Raise your savings rate when your salary rises, so lifestyle inflation does not mug you in broad daylight. Keep housing reasonable, because the mortgage you can survive is better than the dream house you secretly resent. And remember, in America, $1 million net worth often is not a story about luxury. It is a story about patience, equity, automation, and refusing to look rich too early. If you are waiting for a giant salary to save you, that wait can get very expensive. Because income matters, yes, but behavior decides whether your raises become freedom or just nicer stuff. And that is why this story feels personal, because this could absolutely be you. So let me leave you with the uncomfortable question. Are you actually underpaid, or are you overcommitted to a version of life that is quietly stealing your net worth? Because the difference between I make decent money and I am building wealth is usually invisible until 20 years have passed. And by then, the spreadsheet has already made its decision.